Okay, so I'm sure, well, everyone in here is a college student, and being that everyone here probably procrastinates or has procrastinated in their college career, and I'm going to basically base my quote speech off procrastination, which is there is nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. And I have two examples for this. My first example is based off school, and my second example is just at my house. And so for my first example, okay, at school. So recently I had to like write an essay or do homework or something. And I was like, okay, I'm going to write this. It's due tomorrow. I've waited long enough. Sit down at my desk, like start writing. So I sat down. It's like 6 o'clock at night. Sat down, like, okay, like I'll just go on Facebook for a little. Facebook, all right, there goes an hour. Awesome. So then I'm like, okay, for real, like write this. But then like looked at my desk. Oh, it's all messy. I can't write on a like dirty surface. It's like, so I took all my papers out, cleaned them, organized them, got all my receipts out, like put them in like a little Excel spreadsheet so I like knew my expenses, and then like got a second trash can out for my trash, like okay, this will be for my paper, like so I could start recycling. Took all my trash from my trash can that was paper, put it in my trash can for recycling things, and then I was like, okay, so that's kind of cleared up, good, organized all my books, everything's ready. And then I was like, well, I have no papers to write on this. So I went to my, basically I just kept procrastinating, like it was crazy. It was the epitome of procrastination. And so finally it was like 10 o'clock at night. I was like, oh, fine, okay, like do this homework, like no big deal, just get it done. And then I ended up like watching TV. I was like, well, I'm hungry, like went outside, made dinner, like ate something, like talked to my brother. And meanwhile, like all of that's useless. What am I going to do with that? Like, okay, so I could recycle 3 papers a month. Awesome. Like, there's no point in doing all that. And so for my second example is around my house. My mom used to, like, before I got smart enough to kind of hide in my room till she left for work, she'd be like, okay, Leah, like, she'd always, like, give me something to do for the day during summertime. And she'd be like, okay, like, move a curtain rod down or something, like something dumb, like I didn't think I had to do. So I would, instead of doing that, I'd be like, okay, well, I'll get around to it, but like maybe I can do something else, and it'll distract her, and she'll be like, ooh, like you cleaned the bathroom, awesome, and then she'll forget she asked me to like do what was harder. So I'd be like, I'd spend all day like 3 hours like folding clothes or like washing clothes and like ironing all the hand towels, making sure they look good, and then she'd come home and she'd be like, hey, well, like the curtain rod's not moved. But I'd be like, well, look at the hand towel drawer. They're all like clean and pristine, like folded perfectly. And she'd be like, well, like there's no point in me doing that because still now I like wasted all day folding hand towels, and I still have to move the curtain rod down. So that goes back to the quote. It's useless. There's no point in me doing it. And so that is the conclusion of my speech. So next time you have to do something, make sure you actually do it, and don't try to get around it by wasting time doing other things. Okay.
All right, well, you had good detail on the stories that you're using, and I like that. It makes makes it more interesting and involving. I still want to know if you ever got that paper written. I didn't really feel like it was resolved in the story that you told us. And I don't know who hung the curtain rod ultimately, and that would be one of those other things. We ought to get the payoff when we get those stories. But you had good detail, and it gives you something intriguing to talk about. There's good energy in the presentation. Your point of view is fairly clear at the beginning. There are a couple of awkward things. You start with your feet crossed a little bit awkwardly, and so you look shifty at the very beginning of the speech. I thought for sure you had gum at one point, and then I said, no, she's just chewing on her lip, and then I thought for sure it was gum again. So there may be something that you're doing with your mouth that looks like gum, or you may have gum. I'm not quite sure. So if you've got gum, let's lose that. And if it's something that you're doing with your mouth, suck on your lips less so that it doesn't look like you're doing those kinds of things. I did not count it, but we may. There is gum. I see. I didn't count it, but there may be a good reason for you to do so when you watch the video. Count the number of times that you say the word "like." You need to force yourself to stop using that as a crutch word every time you get to a stopping point. It becomes very frustrating after a while. An occasional like here and there is not a big deal, but if you counted it up, I'm sure that you would get at least 50. And and it was only a 4.5 minute speech or 4-minute speech, so that's a lot per minute if you start counting. All right, thank you.